Jai Hind students, how are you all? As we have started in the fourth module, new administration, as we came to know in the last module only that Warren Hastings was the first Governor General and he introduced certain new administrative policy. So, first of all, as we saw that there were three presidencies, one in Bengal, another in Bombay and Madras. So, from 1772, a new system of justice was stabilized. Each district was to have two courts, that is one criminal court which was known as Fauzdari Adalat, and second they had civil court, that is Diwani Adalat. Maulvis and Hindu Pandits interpreted Indian laws for the European district collectors who presided over civil courts. The criminal courts were still under a Qazi and a Mufti, but under the supervision of the collectors. But we should know here who is Qazi and Mufti. Qazi were the judge. Here we are using the Urdu term because as you know that before entering the company, East India Company or the British officials, we had in our country we had the command of Muslim rulers. So, definitely they used that term for many centuries. Mufti were the jurists of the Muslim community who were responsible for expounding the law that the Qazi would administer. Now, we will see that a major problem was that the Brahman Pandits gave different interpretation of local laws based on the different schools of Dharma Shastra. To bring about uniformity in 1775, 11 Pandits were asked to compile a digest of Hindu laws. N.B. Halhed translated this into English, and by 1778 a code of Muslim law was also compiled for the benefit of European judges. Under the Regulating Act in 1773, new Supreme Court was established, while a court of appeal which is known as Sadar Nizamuddin Adalat, Sadar Nizamat Adalat was also set up in Calcutta. The principal figure in an Indian district was the collector. As the title suggests, his main job was to collect revenue and taxes and maintain law and order in his district with the help of judges, police officers and darogas. Now we will discuss about the company army. The colonial rule in India brought in some new ideas of the administration and reform, but its power rested on its military strength. The Mughal army was mainly composed of cavalry, sawars, which were known as sawars, and infantry, that is the padal soldiers, means the foot soldiers, and they were given training of archery and the use of the sword. The cavalry dominated the army, and Mughal state did not feel the need to have a large professionally trained infantry. The ruler in the rural areas had a large number of armed peasants, and the local zamindars often supplied the Mughal with padal soldiers. Now next, a change occurred in the 18th century when the Mughal successor states like Awadh and Banaras started recruiting peasants into their armies and training them as professional soldiers. The East India Company adopted the same method when it began recruitment for its own army, which came to be known as the Sepoy army from the Indian word Sipahi, which is known as soldiers. Now, after 1820, the cavalry decreased as fighting with Burma, Afghanistan and Egypt, who used market and guns. Steam technology came in early 19th century. Steamship reduced journey of 6 to 8 months to 3 weeks, and in 1857 the company directly ruled 63% of the territory and 78% of the population. Elsewhere we will come to know the slave trade in South Africa, that the Dutch trading ship reached southern Africa in the 17th century. Soon, a slave trade began. People were captured, chained, and sold in slave market. When this slavery ended in 1834, there were 36,774 privately owned slaves at the Cape, located at the southernmost tip of Africa. A visitor of the Cape in 1824 has left a moving account of what he saw at a slave auction, and that we will study when we will discuss in the physical class. So, I hope you must have understood. For your further queries, please be ready with your questions. We will discuss in the physical class. Till then, Jai Hind, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.